What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So, big salute to Leigh Wood, to be fair. Can't lie to you on this one. And you know what? Even Ben Davison, for what it's worth, because clearly adjustments were made. They weren't massive adjustments, but you could tell Leigh Wood had his right hand pinned to his ear the whole night. And really, when you're Lara's, I guess everyone can say, oh, it's easy to say that now, but realistically, Lara's kind of one-dimensional. He looking to jump in with a left hook. Take that away from him, he didn't really have much. There was one clown who had it like, what was it? One clown up here, probably a San Miguel clown as well. Look at this, peep this. Check this out, look. I scored Mauricio Lara versus Leigh Wood. 117 to 110. And that's what I can't do. I can't deal with patriotic fans. People who just shill their home side. I can't deal with that, man. Listen, if I had a brother, yeah, and he was boxing, I'd tell him myself, that was trash, he lost that one. That's just me, though. I'm not going to lie to someone just because I'm my friend. And equally, I wouldn't lie to myself either. If I get whooped, I get whooped. What can I do? But anyway, that was laughable. Leigh Wood scored a knockdown, which was great justice for himself. And it was early in the fight as well. So you can never get more confident than scoring the knockdown. But it didn't go to his head. Again, I have to give credit to obviously Leigh Wood ultimately, but Ben Davison, because part of Leigh Wood's unravelling in the first fight was he was having success, teeing off, and then he got a little bit too lustful and came rushing in and got clipped. But he kept his composure, because really, this round 2 could have been the unwinding. That knockdown could have been the beginning of the end again. I've knocked him down, let me go for the kill. But clearly, it was one of the most disciplined performances I've ever seen. But it wasn't like I don't know, maybe it was. Maybe I'm biased, but AJ vs Ruiz 2, for example. That was just abysmal. He was scared. Leigh wasn't scared to death. He was in there and his hands were going. He was touching Lara. Clearly, you don't score a knockdown for nothing. As far as I'm aware, I don't think Lara's been down before. Lara was the tough, stiff, gritty Mexican. He ain't going on the floor for nothing. And Leigh Wood got him down, maintained his composure. In fact, his conditioning as well. Usually towards the end of a fight, you start seeing people slip. Clearly, he's been drilled well. What's the word? His cardio's on point, and he maintained it. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and lie to you and make out. I'm not even sure what division this was, truth be known. It's one of them ones. I'm not sure who's knocking about, but I don't think there's any massive names back down there. So I'm not sure where Leigh Wood goes from here, but a third fight, I don't think we need to see it, truth be known. Why? Lara's shown he's not got that kind of Canelo about him. Don't get me wrong, Canelo will get his head boxed off by Bivol. I can't put Leigh Wood on Bivol's level, though. The point I'm making is, Canelo, he finds a way to bring his hands into play. He's not just pressure, and it felt to me a bit like Lara was kind of following Leigh Wood around the ring. He weren't really, for example, Canelo followed Kovalev. He probably was losing that fight, to be fair, if you actually look at how it was going. But even the point I'm making is, Canelo finds a way to bring his big shots into play, them big singles. Even against Bivol, until he gassed, them big shots were in play. They weren't landing clean because Bivol's defense is tight. But you hear the thud. And that's how really, if you're going to pressure fight, you've got to, even if you're not hitting clean. Look at Canelo versus Smith as well. Canelo versus Smith. Canelo hunted Smith down and just hit his arm. But you don't need to do anything more than that. When the judges see that you've got that viciousness and authority. But listen, it's a boxing fight, it's not a foot fight. Meaning that you can't just follow someone around the ring and not let your hands go. If you're going to follow someone, you got to, I guess it's maybe easier said than done. But at the end of the day, man, I've watched Canelo do it, in that sense. Even when he lost against Bivol, for the first 5 rounds, even I think throughout the fight really, he was backing Bivol up and then finding a way to bring his power into play. And that was against a bigger man. Really, Lara he wasn't in stature bigger, but a bigger puncher. Punch for punch. Well, we assume so. It's like I don't know. And to be fair, maybe clearly Canelo's a league above Lara, but I'm not sure. Canelo makes it look kind of easy, doesn't he? He kind of puts his hands up. Obviously, clearly there's more things going on. If it was that simple, everyone would do it. But he put his hands up, come forward, and his shots just seem to ring. You don't do many of them, but they seem to have that. I mean, you can hear the difference even against Bivol at 175. Canelo's they bang, you hear it landing, and until Bivol really, he was cutting for everyone. He punched a hole through Billy Joe's eye, literally. His two knuckles nearly came clean out of Billy Joe's eye, clean through the other side. Then you got Caleb Plant, broken down. Callum Smith, who was looking like a daddy at the time, he got put into his box. So maybe, I don't know what the answer is here for where Lara goes from here, but can I sit there and say, was Lara really willing to commit? Because that's one thing Canelo will do, to be fair. Canelo ain't got no problem. When he fought Kovalev, Canelo hasn't got no problem putting his guard up and taking your jabs. That's what he does well. Yeah, he slips a few, but for the most part, his hands are high. And it was almost like Lara, truth be known, was almost looking for that lucky shot again. He wasn't really looking to walk through the fight, which is, listen, it's fine if you want to lose, but you got to know who you are, is what I'm getting at here. It looked to me like Lara didn't really know who he was. He was like, oh, well, maybe I'm going to be a pressure fighter who waits for the guy to make a mistake. Well, that didn't work out, did it? Because Leigh Wood didn't make no mistakes tonight, and that was the key difference for me. Last time he was on top and he made a mistake. Tonight, no mistakes, and Lara didn't have no answers. Really, he should have made a fight of it, I feel. Should have pushed the pace more. But he was gassed as well. It's not like he was full of beans. Maybe that's why I have to give Leigh Wood a lot of credit. He was working the body. To be fair, he worked him all over. Really. Naturally you have to give Lara a few rounds, but maybe 3 rounds I'll give him in that fight. Nothing to write home about, for sure. And really, if it ain't a lucky punch, I don't see what Lara going to do. That first fight, and that's the problem we see with success, or when things happen, when highlight reel events happen, you start thinking, oh, he was planning that. You know what I mean? Like, all of us watched that first fight and said, oh, it was obvious Lara was going to knock him out. Oh, it was obvious. Just because it happened didn't mean it was likely. And clearly that's what we saw tonight. It was all to do with Wood's mistake, not Lara's greatness. Because if Lara was that great at finding a shot, he wasn't even, not even like finding a shot. He just wasn't doing nothing for me. I didn't see, when you think about the great Mexican pressure fighters, this wasn't one of them. Again, we knew that though from the first fight. Lara in the first fight, that's what I'm getting at. Lara in the first fight was kind of just following Leigh Wood around and getting his head boxed off. He wasn't wading in and putting his hands together, was he? So I'm not really surprised here. That said, I'll be lying to you if it was the case that, yeah, I saw this coming. It could have gone either way. No way I was putting money on this one. No way. But fair play to Leigh Wood, because he came against the odds here. And, I mean, to be knocked out for the first time in your career, to be stopped in the first time in your career, and to come back in that fashion, it would have been easy to melt under the pressure, for sure. And he turned up and put a show on. He deserved this. That was a great, top quality, A+ performance, in my opinion. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, people. Smash the like button, subscribe, and leg off the bell, 100%, know that.